So Bob, have you completed your talent assessment coaching yet?
All but one, and I'll be honest, I'm not very much looking forward to the other one. I don't think he's going to make it in the new go-to-market strategy. Didn't you have that same issue with Walter?
I sure did.
Yeah, and how did it go?
Actually, it went a lot better than I expected. It seems like when we had the STP assessment tool in front of us, we could look at it objectively, see the competencies, the attributes, look at the go-to-market strategy, and it really made for a very different coaching discussion. The interesting thing about Walter is regardless of the end result, he now has attributes that he can manage. And interestingly, he doesn't know right now whether he is going to be committed to develop to the minimum thresholds that the role requires, or if he wants to go back to the technical specialist role that he used to have.
So the insight made a big difference. It wasn't that hard a session, it sounds like.
I didn't say that. Probably the toughest part, really for both of us, was getting Walter past the idea that level 1 was bad, and somehow his proficiency at level 1 was worse than someone's proficiency at level 2. And Bob, I didn't help the matter. I let slip a couple of times. I called level 1 low instead of just pointing out that level 1 was a different strategy from level 2.
Yeah, and I can kind of understand that. I'm just starting to understand that myself. One of the things that I think was a revelation to me was when we first started selling at a level 1 go-to-market strategy 10 years ago, it was the right answer. And I mean, a lot of us made a lot of money out of that strategy, right? But I think things today have changed, and now we have no choice but to go to a level 2. And in doing that, we've just got to sell differently. We've got to behave differently than we did before. So at the end of Walter's coaching session, then, did you have some things he needs to do differently? I mean, what is it he's going to do for this change?
Well, that's another reason that the STP was very helpful to me. We took a look at all of his competencies, and we focused in on the targeting cluster. And there were several of the competencies in there that he really needed to develop so that he could gain access to a level 2 target client. And it just so happens that Jack, another member on my team, already has those level 2 competencies very, very proficient. So what I did was I put the two together, tag teamed them, on a project that's going to enable Jack to lead and demonstrate this behavior, and it's going to enable Walter to quickly develop it himself.
Wow. You know, Don, I love working with you because I always learn so much. And it seems to me one of the really big advantages of that approach is that it lets you spend more time coaching. So now your team is out kind of helping each other on the front lines, doing those things that need to be done, and I just think that's really brilliant. Thank you for that. Can we talk about Catherine for just a minute? Because I remember you told me that the STP competency said that Catherine should be a superstar. But if I could tell you from a personal standpoint, I just don't see it.
You know, with Catherine, it is a totally different coaching situation. She does. You look at her STP results, and it supports the fact that almost across the board, she's got the competencies to execute a level 3 strategy. Then you look over at the attribute side, there isn't an attribute there that isn't over the top in intensity, and that's really what's become the problem, constraining her.
Yeah, it sure does. In fact, you know what? I've had a few examples of that myself. I've had some folks whose attributes really do interfere with a good competency picture. One of the things that I used to kind of help them in coaching was I gave them examples of when those very intense attributes kind of got in the way of their performance. And one of the things I found valuable was to say, rather than, oh, gee, you're like this, I actually say, do you remember 2 weeks ago when we were meeting with that client, you said this, and as a result, the client became upset. A little more specific than just, gee, this is the way you are. I really found that to be very valuable with my stuff as well.
Okay, that's great kind of insight, because it kind of gets through the emotion that can go along with those attributes.
So how do you help Catherine manage her attribute intensities then?
Well, as we learned, attributes aren't something that you develop and grow in or out of. So she's going to have to become very adept at self-management. But first, she's got to become self-aware. She doesn't even know when she's doing it. The rest of us do, but she doesn't. So the first thing is we're going to work on making sure she is aware of when that situation occurs. So we kind of develop this little signal that when I'm there, that I let her know that she's kind of going over the top, and maybe I'll get you involved in it too, so you can help give her a signal as well. After that, I think it's going to be a matter of, can she see the right kind of behavior? What does it look like when you are managing that attribute?
Wow. Like I said, I always learn so much, Dawn. I appreciate that.
You know, Bob, modesty aside, I always thought I was pretty good at coaching. But this has really changed my perspective about coaching my talent. I'm armed with a new set of tools which give me data and insight, and I really, for the first time, I think, see an opportunity to get some sustainable behavior change out of my team. That is exciting.
And I got some insights into my team and insights to myself as well. You know, one of the things that I think makes this transformation unique among the several that I've been through while I've been with the company here is that we all now have specific action items that are going to get us from where we are today to where we need to be. Well, listen, it was good seeing you as always, and look forward to talking to you next week.